Hello. Today we're going to talk about asking questions and why and how we should do more. My name is Rodney.
And I'm Keith, and this is the More in Common Daily Chronicle, where we explore our journey more to the point of trying to document it for ourselves. We set this out to learn from our past and ultimately give something for our daughters to look back upon when they start their journey. And well, we decided, hey, let's share it. Let's build some community around it and see what opportunities there are to learn from others. So here we are,
Here we
talking
are.
about asking questions today.
Ask those questions.
Yeah, it's funny. This has come up recently, specifically for my observation, given what we do when we talk about the more approach and other things. And a lot of times in our business or in our lives, asking questions seems like an interrogation, or it creates offense, or it somehow creates a negative interaction. When at the end of the day, I think we need to ask more questions.
So I agree with that, and I also, and having been an offender of this many times, there's also the like some just asking questions, but making using questions as a way to make a point
Mm-hmm.
instead of asking an actual honest curious question.
Yeah.
And I think many people have had bad taste with stuff like that. So like, I don't want to answer your pointed questions. But I agree with you. We do need to ask more questions and stop assuming we know what somebody, even like just the smallest things. Like, oh wait, hold on, I think what did you mean by that is probably the most powerful question that we as people don't ask very often. And I know I've done it more in the last year than I have ever in my life. But what did you mean by that? It's such a
Yeah.
powerful question.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I've been especially since we started the podcast, but more over the past year since we started instituting our more approach and into creating space that engages a more active discussion.
Yeah.
Conversation's one of those things in our Western culture, especially. Conversation has been replaced with debate, right? Where
A
you
really
make a point.
really poor man's version of debate, but yeah.
Totally. It's not like a formal, heavily researched debate where you're anticipating the other and it's a competition. It has become like I make a point, you make a point, and if we don't agree, we both strongly make the point that we already made to try to get you to think the way we think. And I find I've been more aware of it, especially after we do an interview and we
Yeah.
ask a whole bunch of questions. And then maybe you're in a conversation and you ask a question. I find I don't get asked a lot of questions. And I even find myself personally when I do, because I'm so not used to being asked questions, that it's like, oh, I don't want to answer a question. Right. And I one of the things that we talk a lot about is embracing curiosity to enable a more effective space. And questions are a key way to demonstrate curiosity. But to your point, and I 100% agree, if your question is rooted in shame, in other words, if someone makes a political point and you ask a question to demonstrate that you know more than they do, and in turn are just simply trying to put them in their place, not a good way to create space that will promote a more effective connection. But if it's curious, like, and you really embrace it and say, okay, I wonder what they mean by this. And so much to I think that's brilliant. Like, it just basic. What do you mean by that? Help me understand, because I don't.
And
Is a good way to go about it.
yeah, and context to it, for me, it came down to I want to assume less about other people's actions and what they're thinking when they say things. And I realize that I do it so much because somebody actually Ken Long, our one of our guests on our podcast, recommended.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, just ask when something bothers you or whatever. Just ask the person who said whatever, what did they mean by it? And then
Right.
when you get advanced, you could even say, because I interpreted it as this,
Yeah.
and giving them a chance to course correct or be like, no, you're right. And then you could be completely justified in your annoyance or whatnot.
And I
But
think
it helped me understand how much I'm telling stories and how much I think I know what's going on in somebody else's head. And it was actually kind of, it's comical, but it's kind of frightening how often telling that story. So it's a good tool. It's free. You can have it.
It's free. Yeah, you can embrace curiosity, ask questions. But I'll leave it on this, at least from my point of view, is also when you're asked questions, try to engage the conversation, because someone may actually try to be putting in your place, but you can work through that. But that takes a little time, and I think we all could probably use a little opportunity to take a little less offense to being asked questions and not feeling interrogated. So
Yeah, and there's probably a way to answer those questions. Those questions fall into the line of what are the? It's like straw man, like all the things, all the false.
It's a
rhetoric.
Tactic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tactic of
It's
like
tactic
disproving or an argument tactic that is just basically put there to distract. So there's a way to handle those, which we can talk about later. But no, I completely agree with you. Like deep breath to help for sure.
Box breath. We should talk about box breath.
We should. We'll get into that.
But
so I guess want to ask, like, how do you feel about asking questions? Do you ask questions? Do you get asked many questions? Do you see value in them? That's a lot of questions, but
hey, we're all about asking questions right now. So
I didn't even do that on purpose.
I know. That's good though. That's good. All right. Well, we gotta go.
Hey, but I do want to remind everybody the COVID-19 hair challenge. I picked it out today. So Keith also picked it out.
I'm on hat duty now.
Before and after photos.
We've got some more time. All right.
Unless you're in Georgia or Oklahoma.
Yeah. All right. We're out.